Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be talking about originals.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
the nonconformists,
Yeah.
the thinkers,
Yeah.
the people who kind of drive change in the world.
The people you want to be like.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember?
People you look at and think, I wish I was more like that.
Right.
But maybe we're more like them than we think.
That's true.
And we're going to be basing this deep dive on the research of Adam Grant,
Yes.
organizational psychologist.
And you know what's funny is
Yeah.
Adam Grant almost missed a huge opportunity to support originals.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he initially decided not to invest in a company because they didn't fit his picture of what success looked like.
Which company?
Warby Parker.
Warby Parker.
Can you imagine
That's crazy.
missing out on that?
Yeah.
Seems so obvious now.
Right.
But back then, they were doing things a little differently. And so Grant actually turned this into a learning experience for himself
Good for him.
and uncovered some really surprising insights about what makes originals tick.
Like what?
So the first thing we learn is that originals have this really unique relationship with procrastination.
Wait. Procrastination?
Oh, you think it's a productivity killer?
Right. I'm like the opposite. I'm the procrastinator. Like, get it done, get it off my plate.
Right.
Yeah.
But Grant, along with one of his students, discovered that moderate procrastinators are actually more creative than the people who rush to get things done.
That's interesting.
Right.
Because I can see how stepping back from a problem
Exactly.
and like giving yourself space
Yeah.
could maybe help you see it in a new light.
It's almost like your subconscious is working on it,
Right.
even when you're not.
Yeah.
And that can lead to those aha moments
Interesting.
of breakthrough.
Yeah.
Procrastination can give you that incubation period for ideas.
Okay, so like it's
Stepping away allows for more divergent thinking.
convergent thinking.
Yeah, it's just a fancy way of saying exploring
Okay.
lots of different possibilities.
Right.
Instead of just sticking to the most obvious one.
Okay.
And that open exploration is key
Gotcha.
for coming up with truly original ideas.
So it's like letting an idea simmer
Exactly.
on the back burner
Yeah.
instead of trying to force it to cook too quickly.
And one of the best examples of this
Okay.
is Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech.
Oh, I love that speech.
He revised it
Yeah.
up until the last minute,
Oh, wow.
staying open to inspiration and making these powerful additions that resonated with so many people.
I had no idea.
So,
It's like all those times you feel pressured to get something done right away.
yeah,
Maybe taking a little more time
maybe
is the more original approach.
it could be.
Interesting.
Right.
So originals are procrastinators sometimes.
They are. And what's interesting is this ties into another insight. Grant highlights originals are often quick to start, but slow to finish. They take their time to perfect their approach,
Right.
which can lead to massive success.
Like Warby Parker, for example.
Like Warby Parker, exactly.
Yeah. They didn't rush to be first.
They did.
They took their time to get it right.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes the more original approach is just like slowing down a little.
Yeah. Taking your time.
That's pretty cool.
Be more thorough, be more thoughtful.
Okay, so we talked about procrastination, how originals use that to their advantage. Now let's talk about doubting the default.
Yes.
What is that?
So doubting the default is about questioning the way things are usually done
Okay.
and looking for alternative approaches.
Okay.
One of the studies that Grant talks about
Yeah.
found that people who use web browsers like Firefox and Chrome, these are browsers that require a bit more effort to install.
Right, not just like whatever came on the computer.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They actually tended to perform better at their jobs.
Really?
Yeah.
Just from using a different web browser.
It wasn't about the browser itself.
Right.
It was about the mindset.
Gotcha.
They were already the type of people who were willing to go a little out of their way
Right.
to find a better solution. They'd already had that proactive mindset.
They're thinking, is there a better way?
Is there a better way?
Okay.
Instead of just accepting the status quo.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I think there's a term for this.
Yeah.
Vujade.
Vujade.
Have you heard of that?
I have.
It's like the opposite of deja vu, right?
It is. It's that feeling of looking at something familiar with fresh eyes.
Right.
Like you're noticing something you might have missed before.
Like hitting the reset button.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it can be incredibly powerful.
Do you have a good example of that?
I do. A great example is Jennifer Lee.
Okay.
She's the screenwriter who reimagined the villain in Frozen. Okay.
By questioning the typical default portrayal of a purely evil queen.
Right.
She created a much more complex and relatable character,
Right.
which was a big part of the film's massive success.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow. So wuxia
What could they?
can really lead to like some pretty innovative stuff.
Totally.
And it makes you think about your own life.
Yeah.
All those areas where you're just kind of going with the flow.
Right.
Accepting the way things are.
Totally.
Without really thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like what defaults in your life might be worth questioning?
That's the question.
Yeah, what fresh perspective could you uncover?
It's all about challenging those assumptions and exploring new possibilities.
Okay.
Which can lead to those breakthroughs, both personally and professionally.
Right.
And this actually connects to the final and perhaps the most important point that Grant makes about originals.
Okay.
They embrace fear and failure.
See, that's what I was thinking. Like,
I always pictured originals as like these fearless risk takers.
Do you think they just go for it?
Right.
Yeah.
No fear.
It's a common misconception.
Okay.
They feel fear just like anyone else.
Right.
But the difference is they're more afraid of not trying than they are of failing.
So it's not the absence of fear, but how you respond to it.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
They don't let fear hold them back.
Okay.
They actually see it as a signal that they're on to something important, something worth pursuing.
So originals are okay with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, they're comfortable with being uncomfortable.
They don't shy away from those feelings of doubt or uncertainty.
Exactly. And Grant's research actually found that 85% of people hold back their ideas out of fear of judgment.
Oh, wow. 85%.
Yeah. But originals, they're more willing to put themselves out there.
Even if it means facing criticism?
Even if it means facing setbacks?
Or like just flat out failing?
They'd rather try and fail than never try at all?
Almost like they're more afraid of letting those ideas die.
Exactly.
Than they are of what other people might think.
Precisely. And think about someone like Elon Musk.
Yep.
He's known for taking on these huge, ambitious projects with a really high risk of failure.
Like Tesla.
Like Tesla. SpaceX.
Yeah.
But he's driven by this belief in the importance of those ideas, even if they don't always pan out perfectly.
That's a good point, and that kind of leads to another thing about originals.
What's that?
They often have the most bad ideas.
Yeah.
It's not that they don't come up with bad ideas.
Right.
It's just that they're not afraid to try them.
Right. They're not afraid to try things.
Right.
Even if it means failing spectacularly sometime.
Right.
Yeah.
They understand that failing is part of the process.
It's part of the creative process.
Right. Like Thomas Edison.
Yes.
Creepy talking dolls.
Even geniuses have flops.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly. And the key takeaway here is
the more ideas you generate, the more likely you are to strike gold.
Okay.
It's about embracing that mindset of experimentation.
Right.
Iteration, knowing that the path to originality is rarely a straight line.
So originals are really comfortable with the unknown, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's take a minute to recap what we've learned today.
Okay.
We uncovered 3 key insights from Adam Grant's research about originals.
Right.
First, we saw how procrastination in moderation can boost creativity.
Right, by giving your subconscious time.
Yeah, and allowing for that divergent thinking.
Right.
Then we explored the power of doubting the default.
Questioning the way things are done.
Questioning the way things are done, looking for those better solutions that others might miss.
Totally. And finally, we learned that originals embrace fear and failure.
They do.
Which is interesting.
They understand it's all part of the creative process.
It's inspiring to realize that originals aren't superhuman. You know?
Yeah. They face the same doubts and fears as the rest of us.
Yeah.
Just kind of learn to harness those feelings, use them as fuel.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So now that you know a little more about what makes originals tick, I have a question for you.
Okay.
That's one small step you could take today to cultivate your own originality.
That's a good question. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It could be as simple as trying a new approach to a familiar task.
Yeah.
Maybe speaking up with an idea you've been holding back.
Totally.
Or even just giving yourself permission to procrastinate a little.
Yeah. See what happens.
Right.
See what new ideas come up.
That's a good idea.
Those are all great ideas. And remember, you might be more original than you think.
Oh, that's a good point.
Keep those ideas flowing.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to put yourself out there.
That's great advice. Thanks for diving into this with me.
Of course. My pleasure.
And to all of you listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of originals. We'll catch you next time.